And this map looks great too, Sid.
Oh, thank
I
you.
thought when I jumped in, I said, "Oh, it's done already."
Yeah. So basically,
Sid said no.
the core idea behind this is there's a security system in the map, which is right now just called the Overlord, and when it's available, you can go and scan yourself. And you see these little monitors across the map too, kind of showing progress. And right now my player name is Malcolm, so it's just displaying that. But it's also showing you your active time. It's basically counting down how long you're able to be in that state. And once you are the Overlord, you now gain access to kind of restock areas in the map where you can get power-ups, take shortcuts across the map. And one of the big central things is that, whoa, hello, I just screwed myself, is that you get control of these towers that are spread around the map, and they'll basically just shoot at whatever you're aiming at. There's still some messaging
This is so fun.
issues to be figured out with, like giving you proper feedback for when you are in control of turrets. And Joe Wilcox right now is actually working on some stuff that will allow me to kind of spawn some hot elements outside of game type logic that'll allow me to put in some stuff like putting something around your reticule to see, you're in control of turrets now and they're gonna be shooting, right? So because you're the instigator of this. Of all these projectiles, right? So you can,
so many decals.
You can totally goo yourself if you're not
such a
careful
mess.
with it, right? And there's a bunch of variants. So there's goo, there's flak.
Careful not to kill yourself.
I'm gonna end up shooting myself. Let's see what else we have. Basically, any weapon that we have that are projectiles were easy candidates for this. So there's I think primary, of course, rockets.
Yeah, this one's fun.
This one's really easy to kill yourself with.
Yeah, you have to be careful. It's kind of there's still
They're all easy for me.
some things to be ironed out to
I've
make
killed
this a little
myself
bit
so
more
many times.
user-friendly. Because usually you end up kind of running out of room, which means the turrets are aiming at you, so you kind of have to develop this habit of like running out of a room backwards to make sure you're not shooting yourself, which feels a little awkward.
Yeah.
What's really fun is waiting for people to try to grab
Yeah.
some of the items and just
There's a shock
Just
variant
blast
too.
'em.
Actually, let me grab a shock rifle real quick. Because one of the cool things about the shock turrets is that you can actually combo off of them too. Oh, actually, no, my time ran out. So anytime the time runs out or you kill the Overlord, basically it goes into a rebooting state. Shows progress for rebooting on here too, and then bam, you can retake it again. So shock turrets, if you manage to hit him, you can actually. Ooh. Nope.
There you go.
You can combo up with these two.
I knew you could do this.
Yeah, not so
He's
well
got a
apparently.
wireless mouse here, so I think it's
Yeah, blaming the mouse is always good.
Yeah.
Worked for me.
But yeah, theoretically, all you'd need to do to make a map that, say, like utilizes these blueprints is just, drop in turrets, drop in doors if you want to use them, drop in the big scanner, and it'll all just kind of work automatically and take care of itself.
That is super cool.
Yeah, it gets pretty crazy in this room. We had one big playtest, I think, so far, where we actually had enough people to kind of
Fill it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it was pretty chaotic and mayhem, but that's kind of the point. It was actually,
With some pretty good feedback.
yeah. It was surprisingly not horribly broken for the first playtest, except for a few minor known things. But
Yeah, somebody, I think it was on
So
the
it's kinda
forums, or
scary.
maybe it was on Twitter, said they would love to play this with that old Hulk mod. Remember that one where everybody chases the one guy?
Even without the gimmicks, this map gives me a total UT99 vibe.
Yep.
With all the shapes and just the way it's laid
kind
out.
of purposefully
Having like
also,
the arena in the middle.
It's purposefully kind of built around these, having
Little sub-arenas.
this basically this arena room for the U damage, then another one for the shield belt with the rockets, and everything's kind of purposefully a little bit more spread out and flat, just to kind of allow the turrets to actually do their thing, and have it be nice and open, not too super multi-tiered and layered and whatnot.
And we encourage everyone to, take this map apart and use parts of it for your maps, and because there's some really cool stuff in here.
It certainly is a good guide to how to build some of this stuff and use blueprints. It's a good way to get started with blueprints is to take a look at the stuff he's made and modify it.
And you've commented them all out nice and cleanly, Sid.
For the most part, yeah.
So pretty good at that.
Yeah. I think it's mostly decent. There's probably a few that are maybe a little bit hazy, but try to be good about that. I don't know. I mean, that's definitely a good habit to have regardless, right? I mean, it's just like...
Shooting at you.
Yeah, see, that's the kind of thing where you have to be super aware of where they are, otherwise you kind of end up screwing yourself. I think of these zones, I ended up putting 4 around the map, so you can see there's a pretty nice shortcut up here if you take this one. There's another one over on the side here that will allow you to cut through back down into the central area.
And no one else can actually go into these areas, right?
Yeah, the doors are set up actually so that theoretically you could, chase an Overlord into one of these. If he gets caught
and then
with
die
the door
really
going
fast.
down, you'll get, you get splatted by the door. But also if you end up on the inside of this while your time runs out, or if you chase on the Overlord, kill him, and then you're inside this area, like the door will still always open from the inside regardless.
Oh, cool.
So you're not going to end up being stuck in here and have to suicide or anything like that.
Yeah, this playtest was a lot of fun.
Yeah. So
Yes, there was much swearing going on. That usually means it's a good playtest.
Accidental
the
suicides.
sniper spot up here with the right person is pretty nasty too. I think Stu was sitting up here when we were
Oh, that's
playing,
why I
and-
kept dying.
Yep.
Well, I was
Yeah.
just going to ask if those guys had played this also, so yeah, I would hate to see Stu in this map.
We actually played FFA and TDM too, so both actually ended up working out pretty nicely. I'm still going to probably have to look into changing some of the color coding maybe, depending on game type, just so it knows whenever there's teams involved that it can, distinguish between red and blue, because right now it's basically just using red as a color code to say it's active, period.
And you also have a thread on the forums about this map, right? Where you're
Yep.
taking feedback?
There's an
Great.
official thread where people can give feedback. I think part of the issue right now is that not that many people actually have a chance to check it out yet, because it didn't make it into the cook build last week.
Oh, okay.
It'll make it into the cook build this week, and then hopefully that'll mean more people will be able to check it out and.
It's
give
going
more
out on
feedback.
Friday?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
so with the builds, we start building them on Thursday at lunch, and so, ideally.
Ideally, they'll be on Friday.
It'd be at the end of ideally it'd be the end of the day Thursday, but that seems to never happen. I think it happened once. So Friday is probably the right time to expect, for the most part, unless we obviously ran into some big issues. I mean last week actually we had some discussions about whether or not we could have a build at all, because we had some big issues with moving from 4.5. And I think on the forums.
Yeah, it was a
people-
big deal getting it out last week.
Yeah, but.
Yeah, so make sure you get the build this week and play this map, and head over to forums.unrealtournament.com and give Sid some feedback. Give him some ideas if you think of anything, because this map is a lot of fun. And like you said, those are Pete's taunts, and they're hilarious. Yeah, make sure you give him some feedback, and feel free to rip the map apart and do some of your own things with it. So.
Yep.
Very awesome, Sid.
Thank you.
Definitely.